Welcome back. This is the Close the Deal show, and we have that's Allie from Phuck'em Gurl. And one of the things that I'm so intrigued in seeing young African American women do is take on the challenge and becoming independent and entrepreneurs. What led you to become an entrepreneur?
Both my parents are entrepreneurs, and I think they always they led my sister and I to be dreamers, and so that we can do anything that we wanted to do. So I never wanted to go to school really and go to college and really do the traditional route. I always saw myself as an actress, as a stand-up comedian, and my parents have supported me along the way. So as long as I could just stay on track, I think that's what made me want to be an entrepreneur and start my own business and just really grow. And because being an entertainer, you are your own business. You're a walking advertisement for yourself. And I love to entertain people. I love to make people smile. Like, I have a smile fetish. So I love to bring light and joy to people's eyes, even though I say the most retarded things sometimes. And I was a special ed, so I can say that. And, I really just love to bring light to people's face and joy. So that's why I decided from the age of 3 I wanted to be an entertainer. And going to school was just, I was like, no, I don't want to do that. I still self-educate because life experience, I've always said, is just as experience as a college education. No matter what, you're going to spend that money. And you're either going to spend it, in the field of life, or you're going to spend it on a college degree. So either way, I'm still self-educating, still reading books. And my parents, both being entrepreneurs, kind of gave me a foundation to grow and succeed, and reading the dictionary helped.
Well, it's clear that you know exactly who your role models are.
Yes.
I noticed that a lot of millenniums are go-getters. And what it sounds to me as, you've not only come up with the idea of what you want to do, but how did you come up with the idea of creating a podcast called Phuck'em Gurl?
Phuck'em Gurl came about, what happened was I had an opportunity and access to studio space and to come up with the show and kind of, just build and work from the ground up. And it really actually took a year for me to get started with this. Danielle, who is one of my really great friends, she literally, her and I have been trying to figure out how to do a podcast thing for the longest. And so she and I were trying to figure it out. And then I was like, you know what? I think I'm going to do it. And I was like, I got it. And I came up with the name and I was like, Phuck'em Gurl. And, and just, I don't know, it kind of rang and sat there. And it's kind of like the 3-2-1 show. We originally started with 3 girls, then 2, and now it's Beyonce. So I think we're doing great now. And Danielle, she's a reoccurring guest on the show, and we just kind of really, it's about being authentic self. So Phuck'em Gurl may sound like, oh my God, all they do is just fuck guys and they're bitches and hoes and stuff. I'm more like hoe appropriation. I take the title of a hoe, but I'm really not a hoe. I'm like, I just like the name. I don't know why. But that's what I do. It started with this whole thing of just this journey I was in my life, and being a stand-up comedian, I was looking for experiences. I got out of a relationship. Then I went to Korea to party and thirst trap and find myself, and I was like, I'm into Asian dudes, and I don't know what happened, and I went on this journey of sexual experiences, but also love experiences, and that's where Phuck'em Gurl came from, because I've always walked to the beat of my own drum. So it's Phuck'em Gurl, do you do what you want to do?
Hey, sounds like she got to have it, huh? Okay.
Yeah.
But ideally, you turned this podcast into a business. And
yes.
Because I have a lot of viewers, and one of the things that we like to do on the Close the Deal show is help people learn how to close deals.
Yes.
Because at the end of the day, when you're dealing with corporate America, they need to know, what are your business strategies to keep people tuned in. So for my viewers on the Close the Deal show, what were the business strategies that you developed in order to approach potential sponsors, or in order to approach potential investors? What were those steps that you designed to convince these people, your show is not only a hit, but ideally, I have so many people listen to what I'm talking about, because I am the millennial.
Yeah, well, this is how I've always looked at it, and that's why I say my parents are, and this is why I still live at home, because it humbles me. It really, I'm never leaving, Mom.
Okay.
They really instilled in me that, especially with me trying to be an actress, is that you want to be viable. You want to be viable, and you want to be Like, all acting is that you're selling a fantasy. You're a different character. You know, it's like you're leading people away from their lives. That's why I love to watch TV and movies, right? So with me, I knew that I needed to get people to buy into my show so I could continue to do this, because it's very expensive to do a podcast the way that I'm doing it. A lot of people, they'll start and they like to see themselves grow. I'm like, no, I want bomb graphics. I want photo shoots. I want makeup, wigs on point, everything on point. And some people can't always deal with that. So I would say, to get started, I went through trials to really get to where I am now, because like I said, we started with additional people in the beginning, but I feel like I wouldn't be where I was if I didn't have them. I mean, I would have more sponsors if I didn't have them, because we kind of lost them through them, but at the same time, I welcome the experience, because in Hollywood, you always hear, you know, people are assholes. Why are they an asshole? You hear like Eddie Murphy, who I respect tremendously. He's earned the right to be an asshole. If you ever heard that expression, that's what I've heard people say. Going through this situation with this podcast and this season has made me an asshole. It really has, and I feel so bad for the people who really could have benefited of me being like sweet and innocent and not knowing anything. But sometimes in business, you have to go through things, and it kind of makes you guarded. And what I say is, like, you really got to have good discernment. I'm going off on tangents, but I do that. So how I turned this into a business was, I really took back and I looked, because as soon as I get invested in something, I move and I go. And Danielle knows this, because she's exactly the same way. We just start hitting the ground running, because we know what's out there. Like, I know that there's eyelash companies. I had a friend who had an eyelash business. I said, girl, let me rep your eyelashes on my show, because we all know I don't go out the house without eyelashes. So I already was like, bam, right there. From the eyelash sponsor, we had a woman who has a skincare line called Black Vanity. She saw it, and she's actually a friend that my sister went to college with, but she was like, girl, I want to sponsor your show. Okay. And she sent us products. She paid sponsorship to be on our show. Like, people actually want to work with you. When they see you on your path and doing things, and you're about what you say you are, you can actually tap into your warm circle. But you don't want to tap into your warm circle. And when I say warm circle, I mean your family or your closest friends. Okay. But you can't always tap into your warm circle from that, you know, because it's going to eventually run dry. Like, when I do my stand-up comedy, my fans are my mom and my sister. Okay. So I'm like, y'all bitches better be at every show. But that's my warm circle. So outside of that, I was like, how can I get into other people? It really was just me on Instagram, and I was just looking on my phone. I was like, oh my God, this looks cool. I want to rep this. I like this makeup. I want to, hey, you know, I have a show called Phuck'em, Gurl, and it's not just about fucking niggas. So, you know, it was, but I have a background in marketing. I have a background in advertising. So I kind of know the spiel, and I know how to disarm people and really, you know, people to see, like, right now we're in talks with an athletics company. We are in talks with, like, you know, alcohol sponsorships. And I mean, it's just, it's boundless. There's no roadblocks. You're your own roadblock. So,
I hear the passion.
Absolutely. You know, you just got to go after it. Yeah.
So for me personally, I need to know what influences you to come up with these topics on podcasts. You know,
I mean, a lot of the stuff is really what I go through in life. Okay. At the beginning, it stemmed a lot from my stand-up, but my stand-up is my real life. I mean, I really can't do, like, I'll go in dry seasons of doing my stand-up because I feel like I have no life experiences, because I don't write any of my jokes at all. So it's all real life. Like, my dad walking in on me and my boyfriend butt-ass naked, that was real life. You know, my cousin saying, I'm going to turn you black tonight slumber parties. That's real life. So it really is just about what you go through, because when I listen to podcasts, I want to relate to something. I want to, like, oh, that's not just me, because I mean, I went to Overeaters Anonymous not thinking that I could connect with anybody in that room. Okay. Because I'm not an overeater, you know. I was like, there is no way that I could connect with you. Yeah. But then there was a skinny girl, because everyone went in there was actually skinny, believe it or not. And I mean, I'm slightly overweight, and they were in there, and this girl she was saying things that me as a plus size woman says to myself, like, I just want some cake. And I was like, you skinny, really? You want to do it? Yeah. She was like, but I want to throw it up, and I don't want to look at my gut. And I was like, oh my God, I feel the same way. So when I thought about this podcast and topics, I'm like, no one's talking about the realness of their sex life. You know, like, there's a bunch of different podcasts out there that kind of touch on it, and, you know, but I really wanted the real part of it. How do we feel? How do we think? And also, like, if you find yourself being an odd person, because I typically don't fit in the norm of circles, which is why my circle is so small, because I'm so sensitive. I just wanted it to be real to other people, because I know even in my comedy, people can relate. They're like, I'm not the only person who's been walked in on their dad. you know, butt ass naked, and I didn't have no hair on, you know, so like it was just, I'm not the only one, you know.
Correct.
And my dad was like, oh, this is bad, but it's like that. So that's kind of what led me there, you know.
Okay. So my next question to you is, you know, if there was one thing that you could share with someone who wanted to start a podcast,
Yeah.
what would it be?
Just do it.
Right?
Just do it.
What would you say, Danielle?
There's a lot of people who just don't go for things because you're scared of the startup process, but I think like you should just do it. And talk about what you know. You can't talk about anything as well unless you know it, which is why I think your show like works so well, because it's just like life experience. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So just do it and like reach out to people who are interested in what you're interested in, and people like you're like a comedian, so you're obviously like the host of it, but people who want to do lighting, people who want to do camera, who want to do sound work, like you reach out to those people and you bring them all together, and then that's how you create something where everyone's getting a benefit out of it, you know.
Exactly. And network around you. Like there's this interview that's been circling around Instagram for a long time of Issa Rae, and she was like, people always want to network up. And that's true, but you want to network around you. Like my friends who I went to high school with,
Right.
my best friend since my childhood, my damn sister who's the producer on the show.
Okay.
She works in entertainment, you know, so it's like you want to network around you and you want to build up together. And I think that's the biggest thing. The biggest thing to starting your own podcast, and just do it. You literally don't need to be in a studio. I chose to do it this way. You can just literally buy a Yeti. It's $100, or you can record on your phone. Audio is audio. You know, I choose to do visuals because I'm conceited. So look at me. I prefer to do that. But I mean, as far as like you though, Terrence, I mean, the Close the Deal show, and I've seen a bunch of episodes, and I really like your personality, and it really shines through, which is why I definitely wanted to have you on my show, is what makes you do your show? What makes you want to give people knowledge so that way they have something to take away and know all these different things? Because you meet with so many different people all of the time. Every person you meet with is different.
Well, one of the things that I learned in life early on was it's not what you know, but it's who you know.
Mm-hmm.
And 9 times out of 10, if I go into a room, I might not know as much as the next person in the room.
Yeah.
But one of the things that I do know is something that I learned at an early age is to be respectful. And as long as you show respect, then ideally most people connect with you because you got some morals, you got some values. And when you showing respect, it's like opening up the door for a woman. It's like wiping your feet before you walk up out of the house. It's like, you know, if you invited over to somebody's house to eat, it's like, okay, what can I do before I leave? Do you want me to help you wash the dishes? You want me to take out the trash? So these type of principles is things that I learned. So if I meet someone, it's like I'm not going to harbor what I have to not see you have it.
Gotcha.
I'm going to pass it on because it was giving me that same way.
You're paying it forward.
Absolutely. So that's one of the things that I learned dealing with the show is that a lot of people that have come on my show, they were able to close deals through my show.
Yeah.
I just came from a boxwork event, and one of the individuals who was able to attend the event, because of him doing my show, he was able to watch another show of the CEO of the nonprofit for Box.org, and he was able to get a full scholarship.
Oh, that's amazing.
Wow.
You know, and that allowed him to intermingle with the same CEOs that I was intermingle with. And then also a nonprofit, United Players in San Francisco is the biggest youth organization up there, and Steph Curry is one of the major sponsors. But because of me doing a gun buyback show where we removed 500 guns off the streets, illegal guns, you know, Google was able to sponsor them.
Wow. That's
when
incredible.
they tuned in and watched the show.
500 guns?
Yeah, 500 illegal guns.
That is amazing. You know, I actually really have a question for you because this is something that I get asked a lot too. How long have you been doing your show, Terrence?
I've been doing my show just like you, 1 year.
One year.
1 year.
Well, actually, I haven't been doing it a year. It took a year. It took a year to come up with the idea.
Oh, okay.
I'm a little slow,
Okay.
but 1 year, which is amazing. I'm on my way there. What I wanted to ask though is, in the beginning, especially when it starts, because we're on episode 9 as of today, when you don't see the numbers come in right away, is that discouraging to you? Was that discouraging to you? What made you keep on going? If you look at your videos and you say, oh, I only got 25 this week, that's us. Oh, I only got, 100 or like 300, or I only got less than 1,000. How does that make you feel? How does it what kept you to say, I still got to keep on doing what I'm doing? Because are you doing it for the numbers? You're doing it for the knowledge for people to get out there?
Well, I'm doing it for the knowledge of the people to get out there because, you know, a lot of people don't know my background. I was formerly incarcerated for 24 years and 7 months. I got locked up in 1989 right here in Los Angeles, California. I grew up in West LA, and I was caught up in that street gang life, and I went away for a long time. And the fact that when I got paroled February 24th, I was in this entrepreneur program. So I got a chance to intermingle and meet all the bigwigs in Silicon Valley. So one of the things that they always tell you today is you want to go digital content. So when I don't see certain numbers, I don't get discouraged, is because it allows me to sit back and reflect, what do the people want, okay? What are they looking for in actuality? So it's basically research. You know, I had one particular viewer on my show guest on my show, who was the first woman to ever be hired by Microsoft with a criminal background.
Wow.
And right away, I got over thousands of views just on her.
Yeah.
Not just because she was of a different race, but because of her, what's the word I'm looking for? Because of her coming over adversity.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? And her being a former crystal meth addict, and then changing.
I saw that episode. It was a great episode.
Transforming her whole life around. It's like, wait, that's an amazing story. This is what the people looking for. And then I have a story where people can get something out of it.
Yes.
Whether it's a scholarship to a program or something, or whether it's information on how to finance your own money. Because I had a guy on the show, because of me doing the show with another person, it was a referral. So my whole thing is, the numbers are going to come. You just have to know what the people are looking for and what the people want.
Exactly. And that's the best advice anybody could ever give, because every YouTuber says this, is especially YouTube. But I mean, like, even if just your platform alone, because outside of YouTube, this is still a platform that people view. You just got to find what people are looking for, which people search that because people want to look at it, but also be as authentic as possible with what you're doing. You can find a niche, but if you're not authentic in the niche that you chose, because I mean, I come from a background of doing Korean videos. That's how I got started with YouTube. I love Korean videos, and I would just do just recaps on Korean TV shows. And I mean, the numbers, and I just immediately saw this Drama Fever, who's like the Korean version of Hulu. And I was like, oh my God, they have people on their show. I could do it better. And I mean, okay, I'm conceited. And so I was like, I could do it better. And, you know, I hit them up and I said, hey, let me do a show. And I did a show, and my numbers were literally 10,000, 5,000, 20,000. And so doing this show and seeing low numbers, it's easy for someone to be like, oh, it's really at 25. We're only at 90. Promote! And, you know, and it can be discouraging. But then you get past it because, I mean, if this show is for you, it's for you. And what's for you is for you. And what's for me, bitches, is for me. You know? This is going on his channel, too.
Before we close this deal, I have one last question.
Yeah.
If you had an opportunity to come to San Francisco and speak before some investors, what would you share with them about your show?
I would share with them about my show is... Basically, you mean like what would I say my show is, or what would I share about my show?
What your show is.
What my show is. My show is about a girl who is an aspiring entertainer and who's just all about spreading joy and light to people's lives, no matter which way it is. No matter if you're hearing about me and my crazy circumstances or whatever, whichever you can relate to and take your mind off whatever's going on in your mind for a bit, and my show gives you that, that's what my show's about.
How could they see you and watch you?
They can watch me on literally everything at Oh That's Allie. I made sure that happened. And and Phuck'em Gurl at Phuck'em Gurl with a PH.
Well, there you have it on the Close the Deal show. Tune in on Monday nights on cable Comcast on channel 29 at 8:30. Because if you want to learn anything about Phuck'em Gurl, watch this show.
Thank you.
All right.